At Facebook, we have a zero tolerance policy against human trafficking, sex trafficking, forced labour, people smuggling and modern day slavery. We're also committed to working with expert organisations tackling these issues on the ground in vulnerable communities. We're delighted to be partnering with Stop the Traffic and to support them in their awareness raising and information gathering campaign in the Fenlands. This campaign is a really great example of the power of collaboration, and we're really proud to support it.
Fenland's more of a geographic zone. It's this flat land, very, very agricultural. Big demand for migrant workers, but where it moves into potential exploitation, it's the vulnerable and the weak that get preyed upon.
When people are the victims of human trafficking and exploitation, it's not to do with bondage, chains, locked in buildings. It's to do with control. The people that are controlling these victims are very sophisticated and can identify weaknesses in individuals that they can exploit.
At busy times, 200, 250 people can be dropped off in any given week. They're often dropped off at Central Point, which is this garage in the middle of town, where they're then picked up.
The majority of people are just looking for an opportunity. They're desperate. They want to get away. They want to see the streets paved with gold.
Sometimes people come into the country, they've got nowhere to live. That begins the journey of debt bondage, where someone says, oh, well, I'll pay for your rent for the first few months till you get a job. You owe me that, you have to do what I tell you. You're going to have to work where I tell you. You've got to live where I tell you, do what I tell you. And there's threats of physical violence potentially as well.
These traffickers are serious and organised criminals. You and I might buy a fridge, a television. They buy people.
Stop the Traffic wants to change the environment so that it isn't worth the effort, the money, the resource to keep running the trafficking business. We're looking for patterns. We're looking for the hotspots and routes that we believe the intelligence is leading us to, where there is great vulnerability, where there is potential for us to campaign.
We found a way of getting messages to communities that are vulnerable to traffickers and giving them a different story. And we're using social media to do that, and Facebook have been superb in leading that work out with us.
Facebook has supported Stop the Traffic a variety of ways, and specifically through provision of ad credits, which allows Stop the Traffic to harness the power and scale of our community to get the message out there and affect real change on the ground.
I mean, the key to this is access. It's simply getting access to vulnerable communities. We ran 4 posts over a week in both Lithuanian and English on Facebook and Instagram. We geo-targeted them at 4 towns in the Fenlands that we knew that were particularly dormitories for the diaspora Lithuanian community that we were confident was being exploited. And the results are extraordinary. About 250,000 people were reached with these posts. That's an incredible number in itself. We saw that not only was the community in the Fenlands getting alive to these issues, it was spreading back home in Lithuania. It was spreading in other Lithuanian communities around the country. This is the best I have ever seen in over 40 years in the business. It taught us that we really could change the attitude of a community that was vulnerable to trafficking.
Human trafficking thrives in the darkness, where people aren't looking. When you shine a light on something, by everybody understanding what they're looking at, by people in every community just being more aware, shining a little bit of light in the darker areas of what's happening around them, it becomes harder for criminals to operate effectively.
Every community is vulnerable to trafficking. The Fenlands is one story, a powerful story of a community where people said, not here, not in my community. And our vision and success will only be where every community has the power to make the change.